A palace built at 1/12th scale, with working plumbing, crime scenes no bigger than a shoebox haunting detectives for decades, and dolls said to move when no one's watching. Across royal collections, forensics labs, and attic relics, these perfect little worlds ignite a chilling question. Are haunted dollhouses real, or is the true horror hidden in the human mind? The evidence starts here. In 1921, architect Sir Edwin Lutyens received a commission unlike any other to build a perfect royal residence at 1/12th scale. Over 1,500 artisans, cabinet makers, silversmiths, bookbinders answered the call, each crafting a miniature so precise it blurred the line between model and reality. The result, Queen Mary's doll's house, stands nearly 3 feet tall, its 4 floors brimming with detail. Water flows through copper pipes. Electric lights flicker on with the flip of a switch. A wine cellar holds hundreds of tiny bottles, their contents carefully decanted and rebottled, with bubbles removed by hand. In the library, nearly 600 books line the shelves, each handwritten by authors like Arthur Conan Doyle and A.A. Milne. Official records show no tales of haunting. Yet in diaries and visitor logs, a different story surfaces. Accounts of chills in the corridors, an uneasy sense of being watched by rooms too perfect, too still. Curator Catherine Jones describes the house as a marvel of craftsmanship, but admits that many adults leave unsettled, unable to shake the feeling that something inside is quietly observing them. This masterpiece was built to celebrate national pride, but its uncanny perfection lingers in the mind, inviting questions the artisans never intended. Behind locked glass, a different kind of miniature world waits. In the 1940s, Frances Glessner Lee, a Chicago heiress with a fascination for forensic science, began constructing what she called the nutshell studies of unexplained death. These are not toys, but 20 meticulously crafted dioramas, each no bigger than a dollhouse, each a composite of real crime scenes, murders, suicides, accidents rendered in uncanny detail. Bloodstains, overturned chairs, even the dust on a windowsill, all recreated to scale. Lee's models became the backbone of homicide detective training, a tradition that continues in seminars to this day. Trainees are instructed to scan the rooms methodically, searching for evidence among the tiny clues. Every detail is a test: a broken clock, a lipstick smeared on a pillow, a knife dropped behind a stove. For many, the realism is more disturbing than any ghost story. The discomfort is so acute that a trigger warning now flashes before these scenes, acknowledging the emotional toll. As one instructor remarks, the purpose is not to solve the case, but to learn to see what others miss. The line between model and memory blurs, and the horror becomes functional, teaching investigators to face the worst humanity leaves behind, one miniature room at a time. On a quiet corner in Key West, the Artist House holds a collection of porcelain dolls that rarely leave their glass cabinets. The museum manager, voice low, recounts the logbook entries, a doll's painted smile shifting to a scowl overnight, a parlor chilled by a sudden drop of 3 degrees, staff fingers numbed as if by winter air. Visitors snap photos, only to find blurred faces or flickers of light where none should be. The legend of Robert the Doll drifts through these halls, binding each report to a wider folklore, one where dolls are never just objects, but vessels for something unseen. In the attic, a locked trunk holds miniature mansions, perfect replicas of the rooms below. An urban explorer who found one describes a hidden compartment stuffed with sepia photographs and a note that reads, "Keep this house safe, even when I'm gone." No one knows if these were acts of devotion or attempts to trap something restless. The line between preservation and obsession blurs in these tiny rooms, and every creak or shadow becomes another piece of the story. Perception psychologist Dr. Lena Morales describes a threshold where realism backfires. When a miniature crosses 70% realism but stops short of perfect, the mind recoils. EEG and fMRI studies confirm this. As scale models become more lifelike, amygdala activity spikes, heart rates subtly rise, and discomfort peaks. The effect is not random. 3 design triggers, precise scale, functional systems like working lights, and sharp lighting contrasts, push the brain's predictive coding into overdrive. We expect a dollhouse to be inert, decorative. When plumbing works or curtains flutter, those expectations collapse. The mind, primed to find agency in movement and function, starts to treat the inanimate as potentially alive. This is not a quirk of imagination, it is a measurable response. Dr. Morales explains, "Your brain is wired to predict what should happen next. When a tiny room behaves like a real one, the boundary between object and actor blurs. That is when the sense of dread sets in." Ari Aster's Hereditary turns the dollhouse into a weapon. Production designer Ellen L. Hayden and her team built miniature rooms that echo real Victorian mansions, down to the last flickering bulb and warped wallpaper. Every shot is calculated. The camera holds steady at dollhouse eye level, trapping the viewer inside the model's walls. Warm amber light glows from tiny lamps, just as it does in Queen Mary's doll's house, but here it feels suffocating, a golden haze that makes the miniature world feel both inviting and inescapable. Film scholar Dr. Marcus Lee observes that Aster does not just use miniatures for atmosphere. He aligns the camera so precisely with the model interiors that you lose track of what is real. The dollhouse becomes the house, and the house becomes a trap. The same triggers that unsettle museum visitors are deployed on screen: precise scale, functional lighting, and sharp shadows, all arranged to disturb. In Hereditary, art does not just imitate life, it manipulates the mind's deepest fears, using the logic of the uncanny to blur the border between safe and sinister. Every year, more collectors report unexplained chills inside these miniature rooms. The line between artifact and apparition blurs. Sometimes the smallest doors open onto the darkest questions. What do you see inside?